Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. I believe this saying contains two lessons. The first is obvious. Learn history so we don't repeat the mistakes of our past. The second is more discreet. If you want that to happen, destroy history. This issue is what I'm tackling in this year's Project for Awesome. In a time where history is being attacked from all angles, how can we make sure we don't forget what's happened? Well, we're definitely not going to be able to do it alone, which is why I've enlisted some help. Hey Rowan!
Hey Katz, as you know from the news, the actions of this administration must be resisted at every opportunity by every person. One of MAGA's more insidious attacks has been on the historical record, from ripping up monuments of America's atrocities, to deleting vital climate records, to systemically suppressing that which oligarchs don't approve of. They've made clear that accountability is anathema. That's why Katz and I have decided to focus on the preservation and dissemination of this record. It's not exactly sexy, but this is a powerful form of resistance uniquely suited to the ethics and attitude of nerdfighteria.
And whilst we all might generally agree on what's important, the reason that we've collaborated is because we recognize that we all have our own limits in what we can do to help, which is why we want to show you a few different ways that you can. But to do that, I'm gonna have to do something I've never actually done before. Touch grass. Rowan, I'm scared. I've never left my room for a video before, and this isn't like even like a park or anything. I'm just in a parking lot. I couldn't actually even find grass. But anyway, it's necessary because I've got to talk to someone a lot more qualified. That's why I'm here at the Bowen Library.
And this is where I'm going, the Ramp District Historical Society. Oh, and no, this isn't who we're nominating, but they are very cool.
While Katz is finding someone to interview, I'm going to tell you who we're nominating. The American Historical Association is a leader in the world of historical preservation. They set out the ethical standards followed by the majority of federal and private historians across the globe, and they're leading the charge in combating Trump's attempts to delete and deny historical data about our actions, climate, and people. They serve as a flagship for all other historical organizations to rally behind. Just like the monarch butterfly, the conservation and promotion of the AHA will not only benefit the AHA, but also all other historical societies from the global to the local.
Speaking of local, meet Jeff. He's 69, a volunteer historian here at the Historical Society, and was very kind to give me a full half-hour interview. However, this video is already running really long, so here's some Jeff highlights and some cool historical paraphernalia I saw.
We didn't have support from the community. We can't change history. The things that happened to the Aboriginals are things that happened to the American Indians. It's history, you can't erase it because it still happened.
We have to acknowledge it.
And the statues and that, but you can't get rid of the history because it's there, it's still happened.
God, he's cool. I'll tell you more about how to support locally soon, but first, Rowan, how can people make a difference on a grand scale?
Remember how we mentioned oligarchs earlier? Well, what if instead of being evil, these big organizations could do good? Like we said before, the AHA leads other organizations. One example is what they did last March, when they released a statement on federal censorship that was co-signed by over 40 other national and international organizations. But sometimes they have to get more hands-on than releasing a statement, like dropping amicus briefs to the Supreme Court. An amicus brief, when filed by people like the AHA, is basically an outside organization providing a court with the bullets they need to fire against the bad actors in society. This is how the AHA directed the court to recognize and federally legalize same-sex marriage. These briefs don't guarantee any outcomes, but they pressure the courts into positive actions while providing the judges important context on the decisions they have to make. Amicus briefs are one of the best ways we can actually influence the Supreme Court, which is obviously super important when someone else has so much influence right now. So essentially, we're saying you can help by voting for the AHA in this year's P4A. But what else can you do?
Here's one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. uploading things. Look at all these records they have. Most of these aren't on the internet, and that's the case at historical societies and libraries across the world. And whilst it's not really true that nothing's ever lost on the internet, the digital space is uniquely good at ensuring that records stay available even if they are physically destroyed. I mean, imagine if they downloaded the Library of Alexandria to the cloud.
But if you can't go out in person, you can still do something just as powerful. Download and disseminate. Look, courts act slow, and historians are historically patient. That makes them kind souls, but it's not good for our cause. Our adversaries will delete anything in a heartbeat. Consequences be damned. One of the best things you can do is to protect the data important to you. Download and repost it everywhere. r/data hoarders is a great resource for this type of work, and Wikimedia has specialized sites for all sorts of data, documents, and photographs. Download any public content you can, copy it onto the wiki, and repeat. If you're watching this right now, you can protect this data before it's destroyed. When we're in a battle for hearts and minds, we can't let history be forgotten.
So if you can, go to your local historical society. Whilst physical media is beautiful, the old newspapers, documents, and photographs, the only way of letting that precious information be seen by the world is to get it digitized. Go and introduce yourself. Get to know the important people in your community like Jeff, and help them get their historic media online. We hope you enjoyed this video.
Right now, everything might feel a bit hopeless, but defending data from deletion and disseminating all the documents you can is a vital, though invisible, avenue to fight fascism.
Remember to vote for the American Historical Association in this year's Project for Awesome. Check out my and Rowan's channels for more information, links in the doobly-doo, and don't forget to be awesome.